For the hosting side of things, let me explain the hosting side of things, like where does things actually belong and work. Today we have this in, I think partially in Linode and Oracle. So we have it split up. So we have like different instances. One like instance for like, so compute for this, compute for this. Like we have different things that individually run each one of them. So like this is our hosting. So we host everything. For the customer part, we always encourage bring your own cloud. And bring your own cloud is logical because the actual product itself, it's the customers. The control layer is ours, but the actual product itself, the code and everything is customers. So we encourage bring your own cloud. Of course, for smaller customers, we can encourage them to use our cloud. So we bring our cloud for the customer. But in general, customers prefer to actually run it on their cloud. And we've been seeing this shift a lot because of AI. Like because of AI, people feel that they can actually develop stuff a lot easier. And with more of these products coming out, that becomes a reality. So now people are trying to now host things on their own cloud rather than relying on platforms. So this, usually the customer end, again, is bring your own cloud. It's on theirs. Ours is on our cloud. Today is in Linode and Oracle. This one here is, this is actually quite unique. So hear me out on this. The actual platform itself, again, is partially Linode and Oracle that it is hosted. But the actual development, we don't take any code. Where the development happens is we enable the users to spin up Dockers in their own cloud. So we are enabled to help them actually spin this up on their own cloud. And depending on like how aggressive depending on how aggressive they want to actually do the development, they can actually scale this to as many machines as they want. So what these machines are, these are like just Docker, like running Ubuntu. So in here they will run like whatever coding agent, like let's say Claude code, and then they'll hook up their GitHub here. So as if you are developing with Claude in your like own session, this will be individually one session, each sessions. And this will work with these sessions saying, hey, Peter wants to create this feature. Hey, can you do task A for this? Okay, comes back. Hey, can you do task B for this? Comes back. So our platform never sees your code. All the coding happens within your Docker. So actually it can be cloud, or you can actually have a server, or even your laptop. It really doesn't matter. So there you can actually spin up these Dockers where each of the sessions work on whatever things that needs to be worked on. So this is another cloud need. Cloud need meaning that we need to enable our customers of product manager agent to be able to spin these things up quite easily. That's why we are thinking of putting this in the marketplace, so that customers can bam, 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 and then they can just spin it up and then start getting those machines like working like crazy. So that's another need. Obviously, this one here, like since we are in Oracle and like how do we optimize it? Obviously, that's another thing. In addition to this, we have a self-host runners, workflow runners. And anybody who is familiar with workflow runners, this is like if you go to GitHub, you have GitHub Actions, and usually like you're paying a few $1,000s to, if you're small, a few $100s. Like if you're a little bit serious about like your product, you're paying a few $1,000s for running those actions when your GitHub repo is private. What we enable people to do is, because when you actually develop on build, you end up developing like 20, 50 times faster than your vibe coding, because you're just telling it and then the agents are just going out there and building it. So it's able to build so much faster. Just using the GitHub action just costs you too much. It will just burn up like $5,000, $10,000 easily. So what happens? So what we have done is we actually created a self-host workflow so that it doesn't have to go through GitHub workflow. It just comes after it's done, the PR is done, then it comes to our self-host workflow, and then it delivers to production or staging or whatever. So for this one here, of course, we are running in, again, I think this is an Oracle right now. So how do we actually auto scale this? So that is cost efficient for us, and then is cost efficient for our customers. So how do we actually auto scale these runners? When you say runners, like runners are things that will actually process all the CIs. So you can have like 5 runners, and you can have like 500 runners. And obviously, if you have 500 runners, it's going to be faster, but your compute have to be able to support that. So like, what's the sort of the optimal way of doing this? So for this, we are seeing like great uptick in the adoption of the product for obvious reasons. Like I always say, if you increase your product 1% every day, you are reaching 3,700% better product at the end of the year. So you are 37xing your product ability within a year. So for most companies, this just makes so much sense to be able to accelerate the speed of development, speed of feature increase for the customers. So the usage of these is just becoming, we are just hitting the limit, and then we increase it, we're hitting the limit and we're increasing it. So yeah, we are actually needing to have a better way to sort of host this, is something that we are looking for as well. I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, thank you for the long presentation on this, and hopefully we'll be able to partner and be able to work on this together.